Well, hello everyone. This is a presentation that I did last night for our little local community. Um, and this is just on personal preparedness, just a basic overview. So start off about me. I've been in emergency management for just over 30 years. Got certifications in emergency management, risk management, business continuity. I've worked in a lot of sectors, uh, public, so in emergency management agencies for municipalities as a firefighter, worked in the water sector, utilities and environmental protection, oil and gas, banking, investment, avid prepper. I do that on my time off. I do it at work. I'm all the time thinking and doing stuff like this. Again, I've been in HazTech, been a safety codes officer, a diver, and I'm a local resident in our area where I did the presentation, which I think is quite meaningful because I would trust someone who lives in the area more than I would someone just coming in to tell me about it. If anyone attending the presentation, or if you yourself go out to an actual presentation, you're taking that initiation, you're continuing or starting your journey on being more prepared. You're building your network in your community. We had a lot of great conversations last night about um, just meeting people and about things that we're doing, questions we had, and getting answers, honest answers from our neighbors who we're going to be relying upon during an event. We're learning and we're reinforcing positive behavior. This is just a high level emergency preparedness for personal preparedness. How many of you have been impacted by disruptive events? Flooding, fire, evacuation, wildlife, job loss, power outage, flooding. It could be from a river or a lake. It could be a rainfall event, snow melt, could be a burst pipe, backed up sewer. That's all flooding. Don't just think, oh, I'm not by a river, so I'm okay. Fire, forest fire, grass fire. The house next to yours catches fire and impacts your house. My kids, one of the air fryers in the house, it had a literal meltdown, and they had to grab the extinguisher. Thankfully, we had the extinguisher there, and they knew what to do. Evacuation, wildlife, and don't just think bear, cougar, wolves. That's what we have in our area here. What about smaller ones like fox and coyotes, or even smaller, right? Mice. That's a security risk. They can impact your food storage. Moles and voles can wreck your garden. Squirrels could damage your house. Raccoons, birds, bird strikes. Birds, they ate all my berries on my bushes, my berry bushes this year. So that is a risk, right? They are a hazard to certain things. Job loss. I've lost mine 3 times now, where I've had to rely on either savings or things like that. Power outage, same thing. Lost power many times. Were you ready? Have you made changes since that? Would you be comfortable at work if your family was home during an emergency? What do you do if there is an emergency? Well, that's easy. You call 911, relax, wait, and fire and police show up to help you. Not always the case. Our closest fire department out here is about half an hour away, volunteer department. So most of the time, the firefighters are at their normal jobs. They're on the ranch, they're in the field, they're at their normal work. So it takes a little while to get there. Most people, about 80% on this study, of North Americans expect emergency agencies to actively monitor social media, just waiting for that call for help. It's not really the reality. A third expect emergency service to show up within 60 minutes. Also not a reality. Which one of these are you? Is that your fuel gauge or is that yours? Full? Empty? I had an officer in the fire department who, if he ever saw the fuel gauge, if you were the driver and he came out to the rig and it was at 3/4 or less, you were in big trouble. So now I get nervous if my fuel gauge ever starts to get to half, filling it up. It doesn't cost you any more, and the benefits of filling up and keeping a full tank far exceed the negatives, the risks, the downside of having it. You don't want to be in that line with all the other people when an event happens and everybody rushes out to then get fuel because they've all been driving around on fumes, right? Keep the tank full, especially as the weather starts to get colder here. If you go off the road or have vehicle trouble, maybe the vehicle can still run, but you can't actually move or drive it, you're going to have to wait a long time for a tow truck to come sometimes. So you got to be able to keep that vehicle running to stay warm. Keep it full. Emergency management framework. So it starts the base level, the foundation is the individual. So what are you going to do? Are you looking after your physical health, your physical fitness, your financial preparedness for you individually? Do you have food, water for you yourself? Can you defend yourself? Then it goes up to your family. How are you looking after them? How are you working together as a family unit? Then up to your community, which is what I'm pushing for with all these free presentations that I'm going to be doing. I want to build out my community strength, get to know my neighbors. Who can I count on? Who do I have to watch out for? What kind of resources can we all bring to bear against a situation? Then up to your local authority. And although they like to always try and say they're going to be there for you, we all know that's not the reality. Then up to the province and the feds, and it gets less and less. It's interesting how a lot of people, it's the inverse for what they expect and who they rely on. They want the feds to do something. Well, where's my money? My business was impacted. It's not, oh, well, I had a poor business plan, or I didn't put enough money aside, or something like that. It's, oh, well, something happened. Where's my check? Where's my money? And they expect governments to do things, but yet they don't want certain involvement. You can't have it both ways. We don't want a lot of involvement out here, so we look after ourselves. And we're doing the grassroots. I do things as an individual, then I go work to my family. Now I'm working on my community. Know the risks, make a plan, get a kit. Those are the three big steps that Public Safety Canada pushes out, and most organizations have the same kind of principal steps. So hazards and risks. Hazards are things that have the potential to harm you. So fires, flooding, contaminations in the air, um, wildlife, tornado, hail. Some of them are getting more into risks. So what's the risk of getting injured? Well, it depends on the hazard, and if you're vulnerable to that. I mean, if you have allergies, you're more vulnerable to a bee sting or something like that. Job loss, some of those are results, and they're risks. Risks are more when you start to factor in probability of something, generally something negative happening. So you work the likelihood and the impact into it to get your risks. So if you've never heard of the rule of threes, basically the principle is easy to remember. You say a human can go in kind of severe or harsh conditions, 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. So try holding your breath for 3 minutes. Or if there's heavy smoke, smoke kills most people in fires because you don't have long to get fresh air. 4 to 6 minutes, brain damage, right? So I always say have an N95 mask ready. It's cheap. They're easy to keep in your glove box or your vehicle, in your backpack, in your briefcase. Keep that there. That helps with that air if it's contaminants purely that you're fighting. Then shelter. If you've been in a harsh, especially cold or very hot situation, an environment, you don't have a lot of time to get shelter. 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. And that's probably when you're going to die 3 weeks. You're going to be pretty weak and it's going to be hard to move even after a week, I should think. I look for things that go across all of these, across a wide range. What are the functions? Well, we have to, be able to stop bleeding and care for ourselves physically. So that's kind of that first aid training, that emergency stuff. And communications, you want to be aware that events are happening. So it's going to be cold this weekend here. It's, if you're not aware of that and you live in my area, your communications is lacking. Your awareness would be lacking. So do you have your winter tires on yet? If we're going to be down to -11, -12 with snow and daytime highs of, it's going to be below freezing as a high. So that snow's not going to melt. So are you ready for it? Do you have your blanket? Do you have your snow brush in your vehicle already? Think about those things. Although most Canadians, and I dare say people, believe that having an emergency plan and an emergency kit are important, only a very small minority actually have created them. Stay informed. Have emergency alerts on your phone. Group chats. So I'll be building out, our community is going to have a much stronger kind of group presence for keeping each other notified. I get warnings now, brown bear sighted crossing so-and-so's driveway. Stay informed. Safe and sound. So that's out here in our area. That's just the local authority, the MD's communication method. Let you know about advisories or bans or things you need to be aware of. Social media notifications, friends and family, your own monitoring of different sites and channels. Or Risk Ready 101, my channel. I'd like to try and push things out saying, hey, be aware of these things. Know the risks and the hazards. So they go hand in hand. You've got a hazard, say a forest fire, but if you don't live in a heavily forested area, your risk is lower of this, right? Or tornadoes. If you don't live in Tornado Alley, risks are lower. If you don't have trees that can actually fall onto your house, your risk of that happening is lower. Hail. If you don't live near a train track, your risk of that. But look at that smoke. Again, back to that air. That contaminant is going to be going a long ways. So you might say, I don't live near a train track, so I'm not at risk of that. You're still at risk of some of the hazards impacting you. That is a water main break that then created a large sinkhole. This is near here, some flooding, debris piling up against a bridge, and that'll put a lot more force on there, could take the bridge out. Again, impacts that have a wide area. Ice, flooding. This was a major highway roadway in our nearby city. The water rescue guys were using the boats and doing water rescues on that portion. That's another one. Another one. Rapid changes. Right? Knowledge. So learn the warning systems in your area. Sign up for them. Find out your local hazards and your local risks. Look at crime stats. Call your local emergency management group, and hopefully they'll be forthcoming with information because they're there to help you. Right? It benefits them as well. It decreases the strain and the workload on them if everyone is more prepared. Talk to people. Build your community. Start with the basics and build up. Start with those rule of threes. Do you have something for air? Again, an N95 mask, whether you think COVID exists or not, or there's going to be another pandemic or epidemic, or whatever that air contaminant is, whether it's smoke from forest fires, whether it's something else that's in the air, right? It's a very easy, cheap thing to do. Then look at your shelter, your security, your water, your food, your power. Emergency plans. You can get general and you can get specific. You could have a very specific plan for a very specific hazard or risk that you have in your area, or you could just have some general stuff that, again, like I said, it's function based and you can use it across a wide range of events happening that you would use that same plan. For example, a shelter in place plan. You might not care if it's a dangerous person, an active shooter in your area, hurricane, tornado, severe weather, air contaminant. You shelter in place for a variety of things. So it can be there's some general plans and some specific plans. So how would you look after your family for 72 hours? Do you know first aid? Does someone else know first aid in case you're the one injured? What about food? If you couldn't leave the house, what if you don't have electricity? What function is that going to impact? Well, keeping food cool, preparing your food, light. So can you do those things without your normal grid-tied electricity? No heat. What do you do? No ATM. Do you have cash on hand? How do you cope without power or tap water? Things that could very easily happen. They're probable scenarios. How do you contact your family? How do you receive information? How do you prepare your house for flood, fire, riots? Family reunification plan, family shelter plan, pet preparedness, home emergency plan, work emergency plan. Those are a couple of big ones that you should be looking at. Family reunification plan. Determine one out of area contacts outside of your local little community and out of province or out of state contacts. Sometimes when the phone lines may be overwhelmed, maybe making an in province or in state call, maybe you can call out of it. So tell someone, hey kids, phone grandma who lives in another province and let her know where you are and that you're okay. And if we all check in with her, then at least somebody can relay that information when we make our calls. 2 meeting places outside of your home. Okay, you guys, if something happens, if there's a fire, get out of the house, stay on our side of the street, don't cross the street, go down to, 4 houses down to this neighbor's house and wait there for them. 2 meeting places outside of your neighborhood. One of the people at the talk last night, their whole neighborhood was impacted. So where are they going to go? Family shelter plan. What's your temporary accommodations going to be? Maybe find another, and again, this helps with your community group. right? Your family and community group. Find someone else who's outside of your neighborhood and make a deal. Hey, if we ever have to evacuate, we're going to come to your place, and same, you come to our place if you need to get out. If there's a scramble for hotel rooms and you don't want to leave it until you've got 10 or 15 minutes to grab your stuff, get out of the house, get in the car, or just leave and go someplace. You want to know where you're going and make sure they're aware of it too. Like, are you bringing your pets with you? They need to know that. I have a farm, but if a bunch of people suddenly showed up with a bunch of big dogs or their cats or things like that, expecting me to just be able to safely shelter everyone, I need to make preparations in advance for that. When I worked in emergency management in the city center, they would say, well, where are we? If we have to evacuate this building, where are we going? Well, we're going to go across the street to the other big building, and they've got a large lobby and coffee shops there. We're all going to go wait there. Well, guess where every other high rise in the area was saying that their plan said they would go? All to the same spot. Well, how about guess what? You can't all go to the same spot. So work with each other, coordinate these things. What about childcare or pet care if the place you're going cannot handle that? Where are they going to go? If there was an impact to my farm, I've got horses. Where am I going to put my horses? Do I have an agreement with a neighbor who's maybe in a safer location that I could get my animals there? Are they aware of it? And consider your pets, whether it's having a sign up on your door or in your window saying, hey, in case of fire, firefighters, we've got X number of dogs and cats. They're not always welcome in hotels or shelters. Have a pet kit. Do you have food? If you show up at a friend's place who doesn't have pets, even if they're obliging enough to say, yes, absolutely, bring your pets, maybe put a bag of food at their place as a backup. So you don't have to, oh, I forgot the food. Now we've got to run out and try and buy food. No, we've made arrangements. My friends know about this. They don't have a pet, so big deal for them to store a bag of pet food in their basement. Premises identification number. Whether you think that's a good idea or not, out here you can register how many pets you have. So if there's, for example, my chickens, if there's a bird flu outbreak, I'll get a notice saying, hey, we know you have chickens, so be aware this is an outbreak. Or if there's a big event and I have to quickly evacuate, they'll know, okay, he's got X number of horses and livestock that we need to kind of prepare for. Now, some people may say, I don't want anyone knowing what I have. Hey, that's your call too. We also need this number here to get certain medications and items for our animals from the vets. You can't just go in and buy these things. Do you have a pet carrier ready? Or is it, well, shoot, I know it's here somewhere and you got to dig through the garage or maybe it's in the attic or where the heck is that pet carrier now that I need it? Keep it ready. Do you close the doors on the room where your pet sleeps? Otherwise, if there's a fire or some event and they panic, do you know where they're going to be or do you have to go looking for them? Or does fire have to go looking for them? Home emergency plan. Be familiar with community evacuation routes, the normal routes that you would use to get in and out of your area. And also think about what if I have to, in an emergency, where do I have to go? Are you going to just say, well, I have to stay on the streets? Or do you say, well, if I just drive across this grass, then I'm on a big thoroughfare. So in an emergency, I might do that. I laugh, we talked about it last night, how in disaster movies, you always see everyone's trying to evacuate the city and the road going, the 4 lanes or 5 lanes going into the city are all empty. And all the ones going out are choked, gridlocked. Well, why the heck wouldn't people just drive on the other side and get out, right? Hopefully they would, but it's behavior. You get so ingrained in that you just sit there and you could be impacted by that. And become familiar with the plans at your kid's school, your daycare, at your work. Now with remote work ending for a lot of companies, employees are going back to the office. And even before all of this remote work, you'd onboard a new employee and very seldom would I see any of the management actually taking time to walk that new person around and say, here's where the first aid kit is. Here's the stairwells. Here's our muster point when we evacuate. So businesses have to prepare for that. You have to take it upon yourself to be responsible to say, I'm going to go and find that stuff out. But businesses have to be responsible as well. In your home, have 2 ways out of every room, a primary and alternative exit. Might be through a window or another door. If not, no, can I break through this wall, this drywall? Practice it. Practice your plan. Store combustible safety in your home. Get first aid training. Have fire extinguishers. Have smoke alarms and smoke detectors. Have those basic things. So what would you do if the power went out? Some people say, well, that's okay. I've got natural gas. I don't have an electric heat. I've got natural gas. Well, have you ever had the batteries? Something as simple as the batteries dying on your thermostat, your electronic thermostat, it won't work. If your furnace doesn't have electricity, the blowers won't kick on to even start the furnace or to circulate the heat. Even if you have a landline to your house, if you have a cordless phone and you lose power, you're going to lose that phone. ATMs, right? No money, no groceries. How would you get water in your home if the water was out? Do you have a rain barrel, which is good multi-purpose planning for your garden, for the environment, and for potable water? Do you have a pond? Do you have a hot tub? Do you have bottled water? What about your water heating tank? That's all potable water. Your toilet tank, that's potable water. Food storage without a grocery store. If you couldn't go there, could you stay in your house for 3 days with the food you have? 3 weeks, 3 months? When you go shopping, buy a little bit extra. One extra can of tuna, box of Kraft Dinner, some noodles, some soup. Don't worry about is it nutritionally sound at the moment. Start small. Get a few days in there. Some packs of instant oatmeal, peanut butter. Plan 3 breakfasts, 3 lunches, and 3 suppers. Then get 3 tubs. Box them up, and there's your day 1, 2, 3, all ready to go. Is this your pantry? Or is that your pantry? Work emergency plan. Be familiar with it. Where do you go? Where's the resources? Do you have appropriate shoes at your office so that you can get downstairs safely? Know what to do if there's a disruption. After the disaster, follow advice of local emergency officials. Hopefully it's good advice. Stay informed. Listen to the TV and radio if you can. You should have a little battery operated or wind up or solar radio so you can, even if the power is out, get information. Don't go back into the disaster area unless directed to by emergency officials. Types of kits that you could have. So now we're on the get a kit. Everyday carry, what you have on with you at all the time. I always have a multi-tool. I always have a lighter, a whistle, some duct tape, some paracord. Always, I have that stuff on me. Your car kit, it's seasonal. So again, we're getting into the cooler times now. So I've got to bring my water bottles in that I keep in the car. And I'm putting in more. I'm going to put some heavy winter boots in the car now. When I'm driving, I'll put my heavy winter snow pants in or an extra blanket. You change the kit based on the season. Do you have a kit at the office? Again, with maybe some comfortable shoes that you can walk a greater distance in. Maybe a different jacket. Your bug out bag, different names you'll hear. Bug out, get home bag, everyday carry. I'm not coming home. Do you have something for your pet? Get a kit. What would you put in that kit? Well, of course, you need water. So there's my dehydrated water. A whistle. I love having a whistle in the kit. It's good for communications, good for defense. All kinds of benefits to having that. Water, flashlights, first aid, communications, radios, food. A little bit of cash, charged spare battery or a battery bank for your phone. Some sort of means of protection. Paper copies of important phone numbers. So action begets action. So if you want more information, I don't put a lot of stuff. I want people to reach out to me. So same thing I told the people at the presentation last night. If you want more templates, tips, tricks, reference materials, whatever that is, send me an email. Leave a comment asking for it. Check out the site, right? Subscribe. If you want some awareness, subscribe to get notifications of new videos, things to think about, things to consider, and support the channel. Personal preparedness starts with you. Remember that. Starts at the individual level. Focus on yourself first. No matter what anybody else says about other stuff. Prepare for the unexpected. So leave some comments too. If you're viewing this online, what did you like about this presentation? What could be better in it? What topics would you like to see presentations on? Do you want to join a more structured prepper group and community? That's what we're building out here. But it could be much, much wider. Join a community, grow your network. Here's some ones I have coming up. I'm going to be doing monthly presentations. Next few are going to be on food and food security, building a 72-hour and bug out bags, farm security, but the things we're going to learn apply anywhere. Hazards, risks, and critical functions, communications, basic first aid, food preservation. Those are some of the topics that I'll be doing presentations on, and anyone's welcome to come out. They're all free. So now we just opened it up. We had a great discussion. We were there for a few hours just chatting and talking and looking through things I had brought and kits. Risk Ready 101 on YouTube. Be fantastic if you like and subscribe. Stay informed. I'm going to probably be offering some coaching, some monthly or annual coaching as well. So thanks very much, and we'll talk more soon.